Hi, I'm going to walk through this project sheet and give some general examples to give you an idea of how this sheet works. So the first step is going to be to put in a target launch date in cell B3 right here. I'm going to fill out this sheet as if I'm renovating a home. So this date would be the date that I hope to complete all the home renovations. So I'm just going to put a date in here. And then in this cell over here, we're going to put a default time that we're going to start working on the home every day. So I generally start my day at 8 a.m. So I'm just going to put that time in here, and it has to be put in military time. And then we're ready to start inputting all the tasks that will be needed to complete this project. So I'm going to click on the input task button here. It's going to take me to this page. You could also just click on the tab down here, adding steps. And this is where we're going to input all the tasks for our project. So for the first example, I'm just going to put painting. So that's going to be the primary step. And then down here, we're going to put the sub steps that are required under painting. So I put painting there. And then in this box, we're going to select the step that needs to be completed before the painting can begin. Since we haven't added any other steps yet, I'm just going to leave this blank for now, and then we can always go back and add it later. And in this tab, we're going to put the responsible party for completing this task. So for painting, I'm just going to say that I'm going to do all the painting in the home. So I'm going to put myself as a responsible party. And just as a side note, to add different people or businesses that you want to assign the task to, you can just go to this departments tab here, and this is where you can list out all the people or different companies that are going to be responsible for completing the various tasks in the home. And then these numbers over here are just to color code the task later by who's assigned by it. So you can look up RGB codes and it'll give you the numbers. So like this one I think is red, this one will be blue, this one green, and so on. So you can just look up the codes just in Google and assign that to the different owners here. So I'm going to go back to adding steps. I selected the responsible party, and now I'm going to add the sub steps. So I'm just going to say we need to add a first coat to the walls, and we also need to prime the walls, and we also need to add a second coat and paint the baseboards. And as you can tell, when I'm putting in these sub steps, I'm not necessarily putting them in order because we'll arrange them over here. So you can just go ahead and list all the sub steps and you don't have to think about what order they go in yet. And then when you come over here, you're going to select what step needs to be completed before this step can begin. So before we can put the first coat on, we'll need to prime everything. So we'll put prime here. And then prime will be our first step. So we're going to leave that blank. Nothing comes before it. We have to complete the first coat before we can begin the second coat. And then paint baseboards. That can happen after we're done with the second coat. And then over here, we're going to estimate how long the steps are going to take. And these can always be adjusted later to how long they actually did take, or if you have a better estimate later, you can update it later. So for now, just put in how long you think it's going to take. We'll say 10 hours for this. We'll say 12 hours for this, 8 for this, and then the baseboards will say takes 5 hours and 30 minutes. After you're done putting the sub steps, you'll click add primary step and sub steps to tasks. So click the blue button. And then once that's done adding all the tasks to our cumulative task sheet right here, this sheet will be blank and cell C4 will populate again. So after this sheet is blank, you can go over to tasks and see that it's been added to this task sheet. But we're going to go ahead and add another step really quick. So we'll say we need to do the flooring in the home. And we're going to say this is our beginning step. And then we'll say Bob, my flooring guy, is responsible for this one. So we need to buy materials, install new flooring, and we need to rip out the old flooring. So we'll say installing the new flooring can't happen until we rip out the old flooring. Can't rip out the old flooring with the first step, and then we will buy materials after we rip out the old flooring. Or after we okay, then I'm gonna put my time estimates over here. So buying material take a few hours, installing the new floor will say takes 20 hours, and then ripping out the old floor takes 15. And then again, after you're done, just click the blue button. Okay, so that's done being added, and then if we go back to this task sheet here, we can just see all the tasks that we've added so far, and then we can also manage them here. So if we want to add a sub step that we forgot, you'll do that in this sheet. You can add another primary step, or you can delete a step. So all the managing will be done in this tab, and we also never filled out when the painting can begin. So we'll say the painting can't start until the flooring is done. So we'll say after install new flooring, which is a step, then this one can begin. And then over here we have our duration. So if they change at all, or we have a better estimate, we can always come back to this tab and change them here. And then this is where we can put in a different time that the task will start. That's if it differs from the default. So if we're not going to start the painting until 10 a.m. instead of 8 a.m., then you could just put that in here. And then let's say we're not going to start the prime, we're actually going to start the priming early. So we'll say this one's going to start at 7 a.m. instead of our default 8 a.m. time that we put on the first page. Okay, so after I'm done adding all the tasks that I want to add, I'm going to go back to the start page, and then we're going to click Setup/Update Sheet. After the sheet is done setting up, you can start looking at all of the dates of when the tasks need to be started, and also different views of this. So you can click on these blue buttons to see the different views of the dates. So first we're going to look at the list view. You can click that button, or there also is a tab down here, the list view. So you can click on that tab or just the button I just clicked on. And this just shows you a list of all the tasks in order and when that task needs to be started and when that task should end. And this is all based off of the times that you had put in for the duration of each task. So we can see that we need to start ripping out the floor on the 15th if we want to have everything finished by the 20th. And then this is also the tab where you're gonna manage the actual start and end dates. So if you didn't actually start ripping out the floor until the 16th, then you'd put down the actual start date column. And you can see that pushed our projected launch date back a day. And then if you want this actual date reflected on these other tabs, you'll need to click Update Sheet again. And this will just update the entire sheet with your new actual start and or end dates that you put in here. And then if I go to the month view, this will just show us when each task, like each primary step, will be completed, what month it'll be completed in. And since I just put in a couple steps and it's only going to take a few days, it's all in the same month. But if you're doing a project that lasted a few months, then you would see some of these going into different months. And we can also look at the week view. We can see that the flooring is going to be done in between these 2 weeks, and then the paint will start this week and also be completed that week. And then if you just go to the calendar, this is just a day-by-day view. So you can see that we need to start ripping out the flooring on this day. If we look at the 16th, we're going to be buying materials on that day. And then on the 17th, we're going to be installing the new flooring. And then the paint, we're also going to start on the 17th. And you can just go day by day to see when everything will be completed. And then, like I said, you can always add more steps. So just because we already set up this sheet doesn't mean you have to be stuck with the task that you put in. So if you want to add more steps, you just go to the adding steps page and you can just go through the process of adding the steps. And then after you're done adding everything, you'll just need to update the sheet again. So this is just a general overview of how the sheet works and what you can possibly do with it to make sure that you're staying on track for your project.